Alright, today I am going to show you how I set up a relay and a best practice that I use to help students stay focused and get their work turned in and done. So this is my kind of demo class, so there are no students going to be in here. And normally you'll actually start here and it automatically pulls in the Google Classrooms that you have. And whatever the name is that you have for the Google Classroom is what is going to be the title of your class here. In the dashboard, you can actually move these around if you wanted to put them in order. And you've got some more actions that you can play with, but I'm going to try to keep this simple. So I'm going to go into my example class. And they added a new feature called groups. So what I did, and each group you can give different web rules. So I already created some. Here, I'll create one more. So you just click the add. And I used to name these still working and finished working, but it's easier to, like the next day when you add another assignment, to keep the ones, like if the majority of your class is done, they'll be in, let's say, group 2. So the next day, group 2 will be your not finished group. And you just pull in the smaller, like the students who may not be finished. So I prefer to do this now. Otherwise, you'll end up having to move, like drag 20 students, and that's a pain. Alright, so I set up my groups. And I've been using this for a while, so I already have rules. I think more actions just lets you rename, delete, change colors. Because it's not in session, they are going to be a lot lighter. To put your class into session, you definitely want to go to the cog and you want to add a schedule for the class. And you want to be accurate with this. You don't want it to be all day because you don't want your rules to apply during somebody else's class. And then you can change some colors to make it look a little more unique. Alright, so let's say I'm starting class. Nobody has finished my new assignment I've created. So I'm going to go into web rules. You could apply it to the whole class up here. But ever since I started doing this group thing, I have not used that at all. This is also kind of neat because you can apply, let's say you have students that are being pulled out for testing, you can leave off web rules for them, but apply it to the rest of the class. Anyways, so group rules. So it kind of defaults to off, but it will default to what you had it set for the previous time you logged on. So usually I go with allow mode and I restrict the type of websites. So Canvas is my main platform. So normally what I would do is, let's say group 1, I've got my new assignment. Let's say it's a Canvas assignment, not GimKit, not anything else. All I got to do, you have to go in here and you have to make a list of the websites you want them to be on. The most tedious part of this, and I'm going to put this in, and this will only work for Johnson County schools, but I'm going to put this in the description. I'm going to paste in the basic stuff here. but when students log in through their account, you have to have the account login page unblocked. So this, for example, right here, this IDP NC thing, most people are not going to just pull that out of their head. So you have to kind of go through, and you need to make sure that they can get into this. That includes, like, for example, accounts.google.com, because some of the accounts require you or the students to use their Google account to log in. So you need that. You can't just put google.com. All right. So I would then save this for this group, and I'd pretty much put most of my people in here. And then let's say I have this one, and let's say this one, I guess it doesn't really matter. Some things I've done before is I'll put blocks on for specific sites. This will allow them to go anywhere except the sites that you put into here. And I used to use this more, but they will normally go off and find a bunch of games that you haven't thought of, and the list becomes extremely long. So there is one I have in here that just has, normally my big one is YouTube. So even if they do get done, I put that in there. But so let's put that in. And this is going to be our, like, what I like to call the finish group. So I will put on blocks on this one. Now, but there's more freedom in this group. So what I would do is I would take the students here, and as they finish the assignment, I require a certain score. So if they're doing a reading and they need to get a 7 out of 8, what I would do is I would say, all right, once you're done, you need to come show me that you're done. Once they show me that they're done, they got the 7 out of 8, you will have them in here, and you just click and basically drag them down into the other group. And so now what you've done is you've moved them from a super restricted group to a less restricted group. And you can be as, I mean, it's up to you how many restrictions you put on it. You could also be more specific, and let's say you want them on, let's say they're done with the social studies, and you're like, all right, I'll let you go on Delta Math afterwards. So you can put the usual in there and then add that in that they can go there too and do assignments for like a math class or whatever else. So I do require them to have whatever I want to look at pulled up so that I can quickly just look at the number and drag them down. And that motivates them to finish because they don't want to be in this restricted group. They want to be in this group. And so it's giving them a reward for completing their work. And again, you can limit it as much as you want. I would definitely suggest in the beginning, less freedom, but you could maybe add specific games in there, review games, Quizlet, whatever you want to put in there as kind of a reward. And some of the practical benefits, it doesn't cost anything. I mean, you're just dragging, and yeah, you have to look at it, but the grade. But other than that, you're giving a reward that doesn't cost anything. It takes a little bit of time out of what you're doing, but it doesn't take too much. And because you put the restrictions on them, there's nothing to do. Now, there is one kind of workaround I've seen. If you ever see, like, the screen will show that the tab is, like, thumbnail unavailable. If you click on it, and there's a tab that says, it'll say blank or something like that. Some of these unblocked games will pull this up, and so you won't see the game. So I normally close those immediately. I don't care if they've opened a new tab to go search on Google. It's gone. I'm not letting it be up there. There's any game that's on sites.google.com is a problem because I think the login to this is Google related. So you do have to kind of keep an eye on that. But it helps pretty significantly. And I'm going to leave it at that so that this video doesn't get too long.